Okay. Here we are, maybe a minute late. I think we're pretty close on time. Good. I'm going to turn the light out and we'll get started. So if anybody's out there online listening, if you could let me know if the sound is okay with the microphone, that would be great. So let me know if you can hear me, if there's anybody out there. Otherwise, we're all here in the studio, and it's Monday. So take your time and get comfortable, whether you're at home and hopefully hearing, or if you're here and you want to sit in a chair or you want to sit on the floor. Remember, if you are on the floor and your hips bother you, put a blanket underneath you. It can really help your hips ease. You can stretch your legs out or you can be cross-legged. So take your time. Again, if anybody out there can just say, yes, I can hear you, thank you. So let's close our eyes. And actually, if you can, before you close your eyes, bring your hands into your lap and turn your palms face up. Cup your hands. It doesn't matter which hand you put on top. And see if you can let just the tips of your thumbs lightly touch each other. So you might have to adjust your hands a little bit to where you feel really easy there. And then just let that connection happen and start to feel your breath coming in and going out through your nose. Easily accepting your breaths, feeling the belly expand as you breathe in. And if you can, let yourself come into those 3-part breaths, inhaling into your belly, into your ribs, and then all the way up into your chest. And when you exhale, let the breath come out of your chest first, and then the ribs, and then the belly. And then let yourself switch the hand that's on top now. And you're still allowing, if you can, the tips of your thumbs just to lightly touch there, making that little connection, and then go right to be with your breath again. Into those full, deep, easy breaths. Remember, you don't want to force the breath. And then on your next exhale, let your hands come on out beside you. Reaching fingertips lightly to the floor if you're on the ground. And as you inhale, let the arms now float all the way out beside you and up overhead. And on your exhale, bring your hands down together in front of your heart. And now let your hands slide over towards the front of your right shoulder. Tilt your head to the left ear towards your left shoulder. Releasing there through the side of the neck. And let your next exhale bring you back to center with the chin down and the hands at center. Take a breath here. And then as you exhale, roll the right ear towards the right shoulder. Hands go towards the front of the left shoulder there. Releasing now through the left side of your neck. And then we'll come on back into center again. And let your next inhale bring your chin back up parallel to the floor. Let's unfold our arms on down beside us. Float your hands a little bit up so you can circle your hands around. So moving through the wrist here, circling in one direction, and then reversing and circling in the other. And then bring your arms on down. We're going to make a big arm circle. Let's inhale the arms forward, rise the arms on up, and see if you can reach back behind yourself a little bit as you exhale. And then we'll reverse. We'll inhale the hands back behind us, and then exhale as the arms come forward again. Let's do that again. Inhaling forward with the arms, letting yourself reach back as you exhale, opening up through the front of the body there, and then we'll reverse. Inhale back with the arms, reaching out and up and overhead and coming on down. And then from here, stretch your legs out for a second and move through your feet. Let the feet circle around both directions. You can go the same direction with both feet at the same time, or you can go opposite. Doesn't matter. Just move through. And then pedal your feet a little bit. So flex one foot, point the other, let it feel really good, just waking up through the feet and the ankles a little bit. And then come back to flexing your feet. See if you can scrunch your toes up a little bit there. And then see if you can spread your toes wide as they come along a little bit. Good. And then release. Now, if you're on the floor, keep your right leg long. We're going to cross our left ankle either above or below the knee. That depends on you. And then start to release forward a little bit here. Now, you know, as you come forward, it depends on your back how far. Bring your hand, your right hand to your left foot. See if you can press the ball of the foot gently into your hand. And if any of you want to interlace your fingers between your toes, which can be really feel good to wake up your feet there, wake up, you can kind of interlace your fingers if that works for you. And then take your time. Let yourself ease forward. Keep gently pressing the ball of the foot in towards your hand. Let that left hip release there and breathe. Good. One more breath here. And then we're going to rise on up. Take a nice inhale here. Release your foot. And we're going to exhale and turn into right hand coming towards your left knee for a twist. Coming around into your twist there. And left hand can reach to be back gently, lightly touching the floor, or just draping the arm over the back of your chair. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to twist all the way back around in the other direction as we come around, letting yourself bring your right hand behind you. And again, you can have this hand wherever you want, on your foot. You can hold your shin. You can let yourself just release into the twist that feels good in the middle of your back there. Good. One more inhale. And then as you exhale, use your belly to draw you back around into center. We are going to switch legs. So take your time. If you need to stretch your legs out in between sides, do. Right ankle comes to cross either above or below the knee. And again, as you think of coming forward, if you want to interlace your fingers there between your toes, or maybe you just want to press the hand right there into the ball of your foot. And take your time. That energizing a little bit by pressing the ball of the foot in towards your hand. Let yourself come into releasing into that outer right hip. Good. One more nice full breath here. And then when we rise on back up, releasing that foot, take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, we'll twist towards the right. So bring that right hand around behind you, lightly touching the floor if you're on the floor. Left hand can be on your shin, on your knee, wherever feels good for you. Lengthening up through the top of your head. Think about space here in your spine. That twist is in the middle of your back. One more inhale. And on your exhale, come on back around through center. We're going to go all the way into the other direction. So again, take your time. Just imagine you're kind of waking up through the spine here. Hips are more awake, shoulders are more awake. One more inhale. And let your exhale bring you on back into center. And we'll uncross those legs again, stretch them out for a second. We're going to move on around towards our hands and knees. So if you know you don't want to be on your knees, feel free to use your chair. So remember, you can have your hands up on the seat of your chair. You can have your hands down on the floor. You can use a blanket wherever you need it, underneath your knees or underneath your hands. You can do fists, remember. If your wrists bother you, come to fists if you need to. And then just take your time. Start to move through your back here now. Feeling that sense of, as you exhale, drawing up into your cat pose
And as you inhale, sending your tailbone back and up, moving into your cow. So just mindfully. Again, this is a very natural movement. You're just flowing through your spine. And kind of feeling those muscles alongside of the spine, keeping it into alignment, waking up those muscles. And then finish off the one you're on. And once you come on back into neutral, look straight down between your hands and see if you can make a few little circles with your navel. Go in the same direction. So you inhale when the belly drops to center. Exhale as it draws to the side. Navel draws up towards the spine. Inhale when it comes down the other side. So think about your navel making these little circles, right? They can be really tiny to where you can't even see like you're moving, right? Or you can let them get bigger, which means you're going to shift a little bit with your weight from one side to the other. And then stop and reverse those circles. Let the circles come in the other direction. And again, letting yourself just move with your breath here. And then we'll finish off the one that we're on. And we're going to step forward with our left foot here and find our first lunge. So, hands can be on the blocks any height. You can be the highest height. You can be the middle height. You can be lower. You can be higher up onto your chair, if you'd like, onto the seat of your chair or the back of your chair. If you're using something else at home, like a coffee table, you can have your hands up on that. So draw your shoulders down, away from your ears. Let yourself find that length down the back of your body. And enjoy. Press the feet gently away from each other like you're trying to make your mat longer with your feet. Good, and we're going to switch and go to the other side. So how you do that is up to you. Aligning that front knee, making sure it's bent no farther forward than your ankle. Good. Feeling the feet press gently away from each other. Zip up the low belly as you do that. Good. And we're going to switch again. So when you come into the lunge this time, think about your inner thighs. So that front left inner thigh is dropping down towards the ground, and the back inner right thigh is reaching up towards the ceiling, which aligns your heel directly behind your foot. Good. We're going to switch again. So again, once you get into the lunge there, aware of your inner thighs, right inner thigh drops down, reaches down towards the ground. Your back inner thigh is reaching up towards the ceiling. Aligning that heel back there. Nice. And we're going to step forward and come into standing forward bend here now. Feet hips distance apart and parallel, and use whatever support you need. Blocks under your hands. You can use the chair. You can put your forearms down to the seat of a chair. Elbows above the knees, if that kind of support helps your low back. And then just be with your nice, full, easy, deep breaths in and out. Feeling the ribs expand as you inhale. Imagine on your exhales that the top of your head just gets closer towards the ground or towards the chair. One more nice full deep breath. And then we'll bend our knees, press into our feet, and rise up to standing. Inhaling our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bringing our hands down together in front of our hearts. And now, finding your mountain pose. Shift around however much you need to. Get yourself just where you feel the best, equal between your feet there. Hands just gently coming together there in front of your chest. Let your fingers spread a little bit. Feel a little energy in your hands, but not tense. In fact, for a second here, let your pointer fingers come away from each other a little bit.
And then as you exhale, slowly let them come back to connect, gently. And now go to your pinkies. Let your pinkies come a little bit apart. And then when you exhale, let them come back to meet. And let's do the same thing with our middle fingers, a little bit apart as you inhale. And on your exhale, let them come back. And then inhale the ring fingers a little bit apart. And then back together here. And then inhale your thumbs a little bit apart. And on the exhale, let them reconnect. And now feel that connection now through each finger, your palms gently touching. Coming into that mountain pose, bringing your gaze on out. Feet equal into the ground here. Tailbone dropping down to right between your heels, remember. And then we'll release our arms on down beside us. Float your arms a breath away from you, really, and then turn your palms forward. Reach down through your fingertips. Feel your shoulders release down away from your ears even more. And on your next inhale, floating the arms out beside you and up overhead. And as you exhale, bend your knees and come forward into that standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long back. Hands can go to your blocks. They can go to your legs or to your chair. And we'll step the right foot back and come into lunge here. Draw your shoulders down. Press your feet gently away from each other. Inhale. And exhale into your downward facing dog pose. So whether your hands are up higher or down lower, you've got to find what feels good for your shoulders here in your down dog. Elbows hug towards each other. You can bend both your knees. You can walk. Let your body sort of find its way into down dog this morning. It is Monday. And on your next inhale, we'll come on out towards a plank. Engage your belly as you do that. You don't have to go all the way. You can come down to your forearms if you're on the floor, and that's better for your wrists. You can bend your elbows if you like, coming into a little bit of a push-up. That's up to you whether you do those or not. And then we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Reaching equally back through your sitting bones. Again, elbows are softly hugging towards each other. That kind of hollowing sensation in your armpits. And we'll bring the right foot forward to come into lunge from here. And you can put your left knee down to do that. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend, feet right underneath us. Right to your breath. So go right into watching, observing your breaths all the way in and out. Let your hands go wherever's comfortable. Use support that you need. Full deep breaths in and out. And we'll bring our hands on up to our hips, bend our knees, rise on up, and inhale the arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bringing our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's reverse. Now, as you inhale the hands up the midline, if you can look up at your hands, do. Not if it bothers your neck. And as you exhale, open your arms like wings and fold forward into your standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find that flat back wherever your hands are, on your legs, on your blocks. We're going to step left foot back and come into lunge. So press those feet away from each other. Draw your shoulders down. Feel the whole body here in your lunge. Nice. We're going to come on into down dog. So ease your way back. Remember, if your hands are in the chair, your heels will be on the floor. And you're letting yourself just find that length through the spine here, whether your hands are down lower or up higher. So if your hands are on the floor, you'll be more like an upside down V. Walk a little bit. Bend one knee at a time. Let yourself release one heel at a time towards the ground of that long leg. And then come on back. We're going to come out towards that plank. And as you do, again, take your time. If you need to come down to your forearms, do. If you feel like you want to come into a forearm plank rather than coming in, being on your wrist. Take your time, engage your belly, reach your sit bones down towards your heels. Good, we're going to make our way back to down dog from there. Spread the fingers wide. I know it's harder on the blocks, but again, elbows are softly hugging inward. And we'll bring our left foot forward
to find our lunge here. So if you need to put your right knee down to get that left foot forward, do. And then we'll step back into our standing forward bend again. Full deep breaths. See if you can find those little spaces between your breaths. So feel that inhale and then that little pause, that little space before you exhale. And the same thing at the end of your exhale. Just enjoy that little space, that little pause before you inhale again. Letting your inhales and exhales feel equally important. So they come close to the same length. And then we'll bring our hands on back up to our hips. Bend our knees, rise up. Inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And let your exhale bring your hands down together in front of your heart. And let's release our hands straight out from our shoulders, a T position there. Flex your hands for a second. Soften your elbows. And then just press out into the heels of your hands. Now really feel your feet equal in the floor. And then we'll bring our left arm on top of our right and give ourselves a hug. Let your elbows melt down. You can hold down lower, like towards your armpits, if that's better for you, or up and over the top of your shoulders. And then tilt your head to the left a little bit. Just let yourself release there through the side of the neck. And then inhale the head back up to the top, and we'll just tilt the head the other way. Just be easy. Let it feel good. Come on back to the top. Now, you can stay here and bring your chin down, or you may decide you want to release your hands and send the backs of your hands towards each other. Either sliding to the half eagle wrap, the back of the right hand to the outside of your left elbow, or you may want to go all the way backs of the hands towards each other, or even let your right fingers come into your left palm and then twist those thumbs to the midline of the body. That's totally up to you. One more breath. Try not to lock your knees. And then we'll unwind those arms. Bring the arms down beside us. Inhale them straight back out from your shoulders, that T position. Flex your hands. Elbows soften a little bit. Press out again into the heels of your hands. We're going to bring the right arm on top of the left. So how you choose to give that hug, again, you know that's up to you. Just let your head then tilt to the right. Let your right ear come towards your right shoulder. Let yourself release there. And then inhale the head back up, and we'll exhale and release the other way, left ear towards left shoulder. And then we'll inhale the head back up. Once you're here, you can come forward and stay here with the chin forward, or you can send the backs of the hands towards each other. You don't have to go all the way. You can slide that back of your left hand to the outside of your right elbow, or you can come into left fingers into the right palm. That little final twist of the thumbs to the midline. It's not for everybody's shoulders. You do what feels right. Feel that space between the shoulder blades on the back there now. And then we'll release, arms on down beside us. We're going to inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead this time. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward, coming into standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long back. And then we're going to step into down dog. So you place your hands, whatever surface you like to use, walk yourself back into your down dog. And elbows hug towards each other. And on the next inhale, come on out towards that plank. Now, you don't have to do a back bend here, but you can. If you're on the floor, you can come down and then come into a sphinx if you want. Or you can let yourself come up into a little cobra, or you can go through into your up dog if you choose. Chest coming forward, elbows hugging in. And then we'll make our way back again into our down dog. So move if you need when you come into dog. If you want to wag your tail around, do. If you want to walk a little bit, do. Or let your head turn a little. Just let it feel really good and easy, right? And on your next inhale, come out to that plank again. And again, it is optional to add a back bend. You can stay in your plank. You can come down to the floor and come up to your forearms into sphinx, or come into a cobra or an up dog. And then we'll make our way back into down dog again. And then from here, we'll bring our right foot forward to find lunge. And again, you know you can put your left knee down to get there. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Feet hips distance apart, parallel. If you're able to hold your own elbows, let your right hand go to your left elbow, your left hand to your right elbow, you can. And obviously, if that's not good for you, don't do it. Use support under your hands or your forearms. Let go of your jaw here. Let your face relax. One more full deep breath. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise up and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So finding that mountain pose. Take your time. If you need to shift around a little bit, do. Sometimes just swaying a little bit side to side or front to back helps you ease your way into that place of being equal between your feet and balanced between the sides of your body and between the front and the back of your body too. Feel your tailbone dropping down, hips over ankles, shoulders over hips. And we're going to then unfold our arms, release them on down beside us. Shake out, move around, whatever you need to move around with. And we're going to come into some warrior poses. So if you're using your chair, you might want to turn the back of it around to face you. And have your blocks handy there in case you need them. We're going to step our right foot back and come into lining up our heels. Get that left foot parallel to the long edge of your mat there. And get your right foot parallel to the short edge back here. Now, if you need to, if it feels better, you can send your heel back further. That angle of that back foot really depends on you and how it feels. So bend that left knee. Look at the foot for a second. Use your chair if you need for support, but lift your left heel up a little bit. Let your left heel lift up. Imagine the left outer hip dropping down a little bit there. You feel your quad engaging a little more too. And then go ahead and lower that heel on down. And we're going to start to rise the arms straight on up and out from our shoulders, palms down, looking out over the top of our left hand. Coming into Warrior Two. Now think about the arches of your feet right now. Imagine the arches are lifting up. The four corners of the feet are down into the ground. Good. And then we'll turn that left palm up. We're going to inhale, reach up towards the sky. Slide your right hand a little more down your right leg back there if you can. Let yourself maybe reach a little behind yourself. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come into side angle where we either put our right hand or forearm onto our thigh or our chair. And then letting that right arm come up into line if you can, if your shoulder lets you. So it's in line with the right side of the body. Pinky of that right hand, pinky finger turns down just a little bit so you feel the shoulder come down away from your ear. Good. One more breath here. And then we'll come on back into Warrior Two, pressing those feet away from each other as we come. And now we're going to find our lunge from here. So hands are going to come down to the surface you like to use, whether it's the chair back, the chair seat, the blocks, the floor, that's up to you. Find your lunge really strongly here, and we're going to add a twist. Keeping our right hand down, bringing our left hand to our hip. We'll start to roll on up into that twist there. Keep your hand on your low back for a second. Right low, there on your sacrum. Turn that left shoulder up towards the ceiling. Lengthen out through the top of your head. And then if you want to extend the left arm right up from your shoulder, you can. So that the palm faces away from you. You can come into your twist here. One more breath. And then we'll bring the hand down if it was up. We're going to bring it all the way down and find lunge. And we'll step forward and come into standing forward bend. Let your knees soften. Feel the breath here. Feel equal in your feet, between your feet. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise on up to standing and inhale the arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Good. And then unfold your arms, shake it out a little bit. And we're going to go the other side. So again, if you need your blocks, you want to have them, your chair's right there. You can use it if you need it. Line up those heels again. Right foot forward, left foot back. Right foot parallel to the long edge of your mat. Left foot, remember how far back that heel goes, that angle of that back foot. Be mindful of your knee and your left hip and knee. And then take your time here. Let yourself start to reach out through the arms and feel all the way out through the fingertips. So don't forget about the left fingertips reaching back. Right fingertips reaching forward. Soften the shoulders down. Feel the feet firmly in the floor, arches lifting up. Good. And then we'll turn that right palm up. Let your left hand come down to your left leg. Slide your left hand down a little bit more. Maybe you can reach a little more behind yourself in reverse warrior. Breathing into the right ribs. And on your next exhale, coming into side angle. So your right hand or forearm comes down to your thigh or your chair. And then you can decide whether you want to add that left arm up into line or not. Remember, it's not about how low you go. You can have your hand right above your knee, turning that pinky down of the left hand towards the ground. So you're finding length through both sides of the body. Good. We're going to come on back into Warrior Two. Press the feet away from each other. And now, see about lifting that right heel a little off the floor. Now that you're into this pose, you got your arms out. You're releasing that outer right hip down. Beautiful. And then bring the heel back down. Bring the hands down. We're going to come into lunge. So whether you want to use your blocks under your hands or the chair or the floor, really find that lunge and keep your left hand down. Bring your right hand to your right hip and turn into your twist. So hand can rest right there on your low back, rolling that right shoulder up. And you can decide staying right here is good. If your shoulder feels good to add that arm straight up, you can bring the hand straight up from your shoulder. Coming into that lunge with the twist. Think about your inner thighs. Left inner thigh reaching up, right inner thigh dropping down. And then we're going to come on back with our hand down. And we're going to step forward and come on into standing forward bend. Full deep breaths. Actually, see if you can walk your feet towards the outer edges of your mat. So you're a little bit wider here. And you can keep your hands on your blocks in front of you, or you can put your elbows above your knees if you want that kind of support. Or you can hold your elbows here and let yourself fully release, right? That is totally up to you. Knees can be soft, bent. You can let your legs be straighter. You just don't want to lock your knees. And be with your breath. Good. And then we're going to release our hands. You can use your hands above your knees to help you press up if you want. Coming on up to standing. Bring your feet together and walk around a little bit. And we actually are going to put our chairs up if we're using them. We're going to bring our mats to the wall here. All right? So come in a little early because we're going to do something we don't usually do at the wall. So if at home you have a wall or a kitchen counter, it would be great. Either one you can use for this because we're going to let ourselves, as we come into the wall, practice a pyramid with our hands at the wall so that we have our hands either to a kitchen cabinet or a wall and step our right foot back. And we're thinking about getting about parallel to the floor with our torso, but that's not necessary. If you have a wall and you need to be up higher, you do. Both legs are straight. You're in your pyramid pose with your right foot fully on the floor. Heel is down, turned in about 20-30 degrees. So you've got your foot just slightly turned out there, right? And then you can take your time. If you get into this and you're like, I want to go back. I want to come down with my body really parallel to the floor. A lot of people's shoulders won't let them do that either. So, you're thinking about your hips being level. Feeling your thighs engaging up towards your hips. Both legs are straight. And back heel is to the floor. So think about really drawing your hip pointer bones. Those two bones right here, right in the front. Think that they're drawing towards each other. So you're opening up through the backs of both legs here. Good. One more breath. And then let yourself switch to step your left foot back and your right foot forward. So, you know, different sides. In fact, this pose might be one that you feel like maybe one of the most unequal in. I think pyramid is pretty famous for that. I mean, one leg feels like quite a bit different oftentimes than the other. But you're attempting to get as even as you can, that evenness in the hips, good, levelness in the hips. Now think about drawing your hip pointer bones towards each other. But also imagine that you're reaching back with your tailbone. So that's a lot going on. Thighs are lifting up, backs of the legs opening up. Think of your arches lifting up. Four corners of the feet into the floor. Good. One more breath here. Good. And then walk yourself on back towards the wall. And now grab your blocks and turn your back to the wall. All right. And we're going to bring ourselves into a little wide angle with our heels all the way touching the wall, right? So you can be on the floor. I mean, you know, it's not slippery. You can go wider than your mat, right? If you can. If not, don't. I mean, you know, you go as wide as you feel like you can. Now, the tricky part, when you get your bottom into the wall here now, and you kind of imagine that your inner and your outer thighs are being pinned to the wall, the tricky part is it feels kind of okay when your hands are up higher. It's when you start to think about going lower or bringing your hands towards between your feet that it gets a little scary. So, you know, if you feel like putting your hands down like you usually do if you're in the center of the room and walking them back between your feet makes you feel like you're going to somersault forward, I would suggest not doing that. So you've got your hips into the wall. This keeps you honest. You're not able to shift your hips back behind your heels. It's quite a different feeling, isn't it? See if you can walk your hands over towards the right. You don't have to go all the way to the foot. You go as far as you want. You can keep your hands out and keep that left hip into the wall. And then come on back through center and walk a little to the left. And again, you can use your blocks to do that. Keep your right hip into the wall. And then come on back into center. And now take your time. If you feel like you want to grab your blocks and put your forearms on your blocks to relax here for a few breaths, do it, right? Coming up higher so that you can release and breathe. And again, if you decide you want to walk your hands back more towards between your feet, just be really mindful. It is a little bit different than when you're out in the middle of the room. Go right to your breaths now. Nice, full, deep breaths. Good. One more breath. And then we'll walk our hands back out. Now we're going to bring our feet more together, so you might have to kind of walk away from the wall to do that. And then once you are up, go ahead and lean back into the wall. Walk your feet out just a little bit. Bend your knees. Come into a little like you're sitting in a chair. So make sure your knees aren't going out beyond your toes. Your feet are parallel. You really don't want your feet to turn out and your knees to be put in pressure like that. You want your toes forward and your knees lined up. And then just enjoy. Turn your palms forward. Let yourself feel that ease. When the palms turn forward, feel how your shoulder blades kind of slide down your back. And feel the backs of your hands just gently pressing into the wall a little bit. Feel your quads, really strengthening the quads here. And it doesn't matter if you put the back of your head in the wall. If you feel like your chin's lifting up, just lengthen up through the top of your head, right? So that you feel that sense of really ease. The head's in line with your spine. You're not tensing up here to try to press the back of your head into the wall. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to walk our feet on back. We're going to turn around. Come onto your forearms at the wall into a forearm plank. So step back, get your elbows forward of your shoulders. You can interlace your fingers and send your pinky finger out. And see if you can really be like a plank. Try not to shift your hips backwards right now.
Stay in here like a plank. You can play with lifting your heels up when you inhale and letting them lower down when you exhale. You can also walk a little bit in your plank. So inhale, both heels are up. You exhale, one heel lowers down when the leg is straight. So you can walk a little bit here too if it feels good to get a little more into the backs of your legs. And then finish off. Come on back to full forearm plank here. Elbows hug towards each other, pressing like you're pushing the wall away from you. See if you can imagine your heart melting a little bit more towards the wall. So you're not rounding up into between the shoulder blades, but there's this softening towards the wall with your heart. Good. And then bring your hands to the wall, shift back, and walk down to come into a down dog with your hands at the wall. Now, this I know bothers some people's wrists when you come into that capital letter L shape, right? So go to fist if you need to. That means you don't have that intense pressure in your wrist, right? Or you can keep your hands spread wide, be on your palms. Elbows hug towards each other. Let your knees bend a little bit, even if they're not already. Bend them a little bit. And then press your feet away from each other like you're trying to make your mat wider with your feet, and hug your elbows towards each other. It's a great pose. Good. We're going to walk back towards the wall. We're going to turn with our left hand towards the wall. And you might want to get a block to have between your left hand and the wall. Shake your hands out a little bit. Open and close them a little bit. Walk if you need to through your feet. And we'll do just a little eagle, all right? So you can decide. You can cross your right thigh over your left. You can put your toes on that block, any height that you want it to be. And then you can bend your knees here and let that left knee bend, and here you are, thigh to thigh. You can bring your hands to your heart if you want. Now you can lift your toes off the block and do the same thing, flexing through both that right foot so that you really feel energy up into your hips. Now you can stay pretty much upright, or you can act like you're about to sit back in the chair so your torso comes forward. And if you like to wrap your right foot around behind your left calf, do it, right? Or if you like to bring your left arm over your right and come into your eagle wrap, you can. And then we're going to release. Come on back up out of this. And we're going to turn around and go to the other side. So again, you're bringing your left thigh on top of your right. So that left foot is right there to touch the block if you choose to use it. Or you can sit back with your hips coming back a little bit, your torso coming forward. You can just squeeze your thighs towards each other and not even use the block if you want to balance there in your eagle. If you like to wrap the foot around behind, you can. You can wrap your foot around behind the back of your low down on your calf there. And then, of course, adding those arms of eagle wrap, right arm on top of left. So traditionally, it's the opposite arm as leg that's on top. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to release and come on up. And good. Walk around a little bit. Move through your feet. And we are going to come down and sit on the floor. So take your time. Let yourself come down. If you need to sit on a blanket, do. So that if that feels better for your hips, do that. Stretch your legs out. Move around a little bit with your legs and feet. Good. And then let's come into, leave your left leg long. And then, you know how we started by crossing our right ankle above our left knee? Try doing that just for a second. Let yourself ease a little bit forward. And then all you're going to do is think about bringing this leg, right leg, in towards you a little bit, and then just rock it a little bit back and forth, like you're rocking a baby, right? If it's too much in your hip, don't do it, right? Now, if you want, you can draw the leg up closer to you and let yourself really cradle the lower leg in towards you, but not if it's going to make your back collapse, right? So really feel that your arms are doing the work. You know, you're trying to release in your hip so that you're trying to let the arms and the hands do the work here. Good. And then lower the right foot to the floor and bring your right arm around to hold on to the back of your thigh, okay? And the right foot's going to start to float up. Now, you can lean back a little bit. That's fine. Just try to make sure that you're not rounding here, right? You're keeping your back long. And then bring that foot on up. Now, you can reach your hands to hold the foot. And if you're like, yeah, there's no way I'm getting my foot down there, then hold wherever you can. And some of you may want to straighten your leg out here. You can let yourself come into heron pose, looking up over the top of that foot a little bit. You can hold if you need to. Stay here. Keep the knee bent. You know, whichever works for you, so you can find the most in the pose there. So take your time. Let the backs of the legs open up, but also feeling that release there in the right hip. Good. One more breath. And then we'll bring the foot down. We're going to bring the foot to the outside of our left leg. It can be below your knee or it can be above your knee, right? And then sitting nice and tall, inhale into the length of your spine. And as you exhale, bring your right hand around behind you, coming into twist. Now, you can keep your hand on your knee, left hand on that right knee. You can hook your elbow around, or you can bring your arm across to the outside of the leg. Good. So lengthening up through the top of your head. Feel your sitting bones drawing down towards the ground. Now, if you can turn to look a little more over that back right shoulder, do. And now as you exhale, turn your head, just your head. You're still in your twist in your spine. You're going to turn to look over your left shoulder and look down just a little bit towards the ground. So looking over to the left and then looking down just a little bit. One more breath. And then use your belly. Come on back around into center. Bring your hands behind you. Uncross your legs. Stretch your legs long. And then just lean back a little bit. Draw your chest forward. Let yourself feel your shoulders draw back. You can look up if you want. That's up to you and your neck. You can look forward. You can look on a diagonal line forward. Or you can look all the way up if it feels good to open your throat a little bit there. And then we're going to release. We're going to come up. We're going to cross our left ankle above the knee there for a second. Come just a little bit forward. And then remember, we're going to think about bringing this whole leg up towards us. So as you sit up tall, kind of bring your leg in and start to do that little just gentle. You're using your hands, your arms, to do a little bit of rocking. Again, how far you bring that leg in towards you is up to you. Keep your hands on it, or if you want to cradle the leg up, hold it up closer to your body, do. Let it feel good and releasing. Good. And then bringing the foot down to the floor, turning the knee up, wrapping your left arm around behind that thigh a little bit. Lean up, straighten up and lean back just a little. And then you can decide, do you want to think about again? You can hold behind the thigh just like this and stay right here. Trying not to collapse into the chest here. Almost feel like there's a string attached to your sternum, drawing the sternum forward. And if you have the foot and you want to look up, you can look up above your toes, bring your gaze up and feel that uplift here in your heron pose. Opening up through the back of the leg. Good. So one more breath here. And then we're going to bend the knee. We're going to bring the foot down. We're going to bring it across to the outside of that right leg. Low or high, it doesn't matter. Hold on to your shin as you inhale into that length of your spine. And as you exhale, bring your left hand behind you, coming into twist. So imagine bringing your right rib cage towards your left inner thigh. And you can, again, have your hand on your knee, the crook of your elbow. You can bring your arm across to the outside of the knee. Take your time, lengthen up. Remember, feel the sit bones into the ground. If you can turn to look back a little more to the left, do. Don't push it, but if you can, if it feels okay in your neck. One more inhale.
And then when you exhale, you're going to turn just your head back to the right, looking down a little bit towards the ground as you bring your gaze over towards that right shoulder, right? So be mindful. Let it feel easy in your neck. Good. One more breath. And then very slowly, use your belly. Bring yourself on back around. Stretch your legs out long, and let's bring our hands behind us again. You can be up on your fingertips. You don't have to go to, especially if your wrists are bothering you, don't go to flat hands. Stay up on your fingertips and just draw the chest forward. Let yourself be easy there. Good. And then we'll come on forward. Let yourself come into a little forward bend. Think about coming forward from your low back. You can reach for your toes if you want. You can have your hands on your legs. You can ease farther forward. Knees and toes are facing up. Heels are on the ground, drawing the heels back towards your sitting bones. Feel that activation in the legs as you come forward. Good. And we're going to slowly bring ourselves up from here. And now we're going to turn and put our feet on the wall. But before you lie down to put your feet on the wall, get a block to have handy by you, okay? So those of you at home, if you have a wall, you're going to lie down with your feet on a wall and your knees are bent to 90 degrees, right? So you've got this 90-degree bend in your knees and your feet are up on the wall. Should feel good. You know, you can play a little bit here with doing a couple little pelvic tilts. Exhaling as you curl your tailbone up, feel your low back come into the floor. And as you inhale, send your tailbone back down, feel that low back curve come back, right? So you can really feel it when your feet are up on the wall like this. And some people really like to roll, start with that pelvic tilt and roll up a little up through the back here. Now, that is totally up to you. If that doesn't feel good, do not do it. You know, just let yourself stay with your feet on the wall. And be mindful of feeling really released there for the back, the hips. And now if you were doing a little bit of that rolling, come on back down with your hips. Reach over and get your block. And then see if you can just lift up and slip the block underneath your really low back, right? That sacrum, that flat part of your spine. So you're not hanging off the block. Don't have the block up where your buttocks is hanging off the block. You're totally supported. You can really feel that support. And there you are. It's like supported bridge, but with your feet on the wall, it's a little bit different. And kind of roll your shoulders under more. You can bend your elbows if you like and do the robot arms where your palms face each other. Then you can press into the arms there and enjoy with the feet on the wall. Good. And then keep your left foot into the wall. Come on back to where you feel pretty good in your shoulders. Stretch your right leg up long and press that left foot into the wall a little bit. Really feel activated there in the left thigh. Reach the right leg up. And then bring that right foot back to the wall and go with the left one up. Press the right foot into the wall. And then come back down. And this is up to you. If it doesn't feel good, keep your feet on the wall. Come down off your block if you need. But if you want to bring both feet up off the wall, be on your block there, you can. Some of you might even want to hold the block and bring your legs closer towards your body, right? If that feels good, you can release your legs in towards your body. Knees can be bent or knees can be straighter. And then just be mindful. As you start to bring your feet back to the wall, bend your knees, reach down to get your block, and then lift up enough to take the block out and come slowly on down to the floor here. Once you get down, bring your right knee in towards your chest And let the left foot come off the wall and stretch it up in the air for a second. Just let your back release there. And then put the left foot back onto the wall. Put the right foot to the wall. And then bring your left knee into your chest. And if you can stretch that right leg up like you're putting a footprint on the ceiling, come on into straightening out that leg there. Good. And then put the right foot back, left foot back. Stretch your arms out beside you now into a T position. And now I hope we have room here. If you kind of run into a plug, be careful. Don't stick your toe in a plug. We're going to walk our feet down towards the right, down the wall. Now, what happens is you're coming towards the wall, towards the floor with your feet, but not your shoulder's not going to come up, your left shoulder. And you can go as far down as you want. You don't have to go very far. You can go just a little ways and stay with your feet in the wall. Or you can go all the way down so that you get down to the floor with that right foot, right? And then if you can, stretch your left leg long in this twist. Do. It feels really good for a lot of people to lengthen that top leg, right? Don't do it if it doesn't feel good. Keep the knees bent, feet on the wall. Right? So you do what feels really good for you. And now slowly start to head back up the wall with your feet. So feet to the wall. You're going to walk back to center. Once you get to center, kind of straighten your spine out if you need to. Lift up a little bit. Get straightened out. And then we'll walk our feet down to the left. Again, you may just go like a few inches and be happy. You can stretch that top leg out and be up higher. You can have your feet down all the way to the floor. Remember to keep the right shoulder grounded. You can stretch that top leg out if that feels good in that twist. But it's not necessary, remember. Good. And then bringing the feet back to the wall. If they were up, we're going to walk back in to center again. And once you get there and you straightened out your spine, bring your knees on into your chest. Roll around a little bit side to side. You might want to come up with your feet for a happy baby. So if that sounds good, you can send your feet up, separate your knees out, and reach up to either hold your feet, your ankles, or wrap your arms around the outside of your thighs. And you can roll. If it feels good to roll through side to side in happy baby, you can. And start to listen. There may be something else you need to do right now, right? Anything at all. We just did a lot of things that might prepare you to go into a plow pose. If you feel like coming into a plow pose, you can. If you feel like another twist, by all means, let yourself move through whatever feels good to you, right? So that when we get ready for coming into our Shavasana, it'll feel good and easy. So take your time. You guys are close to the wall. You can turn around if you know you don't like being where you are. Turn that direction. You can turn around or you can stay. And you can, if you want, stay with your legs up the wall. Some people really like to lie with their legs up the wall for Shavasana. I'm going to start to walk around here and get some lights out at the studio so it enables us to quiet down a little easier. Same thing at home. So if you feel like at home you can benefit from having support underneath your knees, you can use a pillow. Here at the studio, I'll walk around and bring bolsters for anybody who thinks a bolster for under the knees. Wave at me. Welcome. So, too, if you lie on your back and you feel like your chin is rising up, which means, the back of your throat, you're getting short in the back of your neck and throat. So if you feel that happening, put a little bit of a blanket. It doesn't have to be a big pillow or anything under your head. Sometimes it just takes a little folded blanket to allow your neck to release. So take your time and
Really just enjoy feeling as you get comfortable what part of your body, your back body, touches the ground. So you're aware that not all parts of the body are touching. We have all these spaces, curves in our bodies. See if you can just let yourself release down into the ground here now. Really observing your breaths, the waves of your breaths coming in and going out. And sometimes it helps to bring your awareness to those little spaces between your breaths. That can give you a sense of quietness, to feel like you're relaxing in those little spaces between your breaths. And just give yourself the gift of these few minutes, giving your body, your brain, time to benefit however you need from all you just did. And just allow yourself to completely and fully relax. starting to let yourself become aware of feeling the ground underneath you, supporting you again. Gradually allowing your breath to come in and go out more fully so that you're aware of the actual physical movement of the body as you breathe in and out. Feeling the breath starting to bring you back into wanting to move again. Let it be easy to start with your fingers and your toes, your hands and your feet. You may decide as you start to move the extremities that you need to circle your wrists, your ankles a little bit, and move on up into your arms and legs when you're ready, letting yourself move however you need, stretching or bringing your knees in towards your chest if that feels better to your back. Just take your time. You know you're welcome to stay on your back. You're welcome to roll to either your right or your left side if you're on the ground there, so that you can give your brain a little time to adjust and your body too. And when you do feel ready to rise up to sitting, just let it feel like you're floating your way up. So you're staying nice and relaxed, and you can get comfortable easily in the way that you're sitting, however you need to arrange your legs, and sit on a blanket if that feels better for your hips. Let yourself close your eyes again if they opened on your way up, so that you can come back to your breath very easily as you lengthen up through the top of your head. Feeling those breaths all the way in and all the way out. And on your next exhale, allowing your hands to gently connect there at your chest. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste. Happy Monday, everyone. Mm-hmm. Yes, you bet. I can't wait.